myself tense up in those moments that I was thrown before I thought I would be thrown. Like Virginia had a couple of spirals that really caught me. And I could feel what I thought was relaxed initially. I could feel all that go away in that moment of surprise.
Yes. Here's another thing to think about. Let me try to give you some context before I ask you to see if you felt it yourself. You know, usually I just keep a single to get along, unless I'm trying to teach something and they can feel it, and then I'll go around, okay? Because I want to make the point. And you see me do that. The Uke is not going to let me make the point, and I trade the Uke. It's all once. I think it was Sean was not doing it, and I thought, okay. Like, oh, let's get on to the lesson. I'm going to make the point, okay? So it's not uncommon, and hence on all the videos you see, it's either was Tristan the whole time, it was Taylor the whole time, it was Ronan the whole time, okay? And we don't film everything, it's just clips. We do this because I don't remember, someone asked for it last camp to show the whole class. We have the whole class. To tell you the truth, it worked out a lot easier, although the loading takes a long time, the editing takes a long time. So just like, I'm tired too, and I don't want to go home and try to edit. I would never finish it. Okay? It's just easier. Put some fade in, fade out. And I just gotta wait for it to get on the channel, okay? But so whatever amount of throws that you're seeing, you can see that they can just keep coming in and coming in and coming in. And of course, we already did the kids class, and we already did the body conditioning, and we already did the grappling, and then they're doing that. And you can keep that in mind. They don't look like they're getting tired. Now go to, was I getting tired? I was able to relax on the Naga side, but on the Uke side, I was getting tired. That's where I got winded. 4 reps in, and I wanted just to stop. Okay? And it's because this tension. But if you think about it, if I'm not doing anything, I don't have to ground at all. You have to move my body the whole time. Ukemi should be where I'm even more relaxed, okay? But it can't be because Ukemi has more unselfing requirement than even the number does, okay? Because of the loss of control that I feel from it, okay? The unpredictability, all that kind of stuff. And again, you can just see the egoic drive to actually want to be choreographed, right? But I see the Ukemi as, I do get that it's higher. I do understand the desire in the desire to throw somebody, the desire to feel powerful. I get that. But there's more fear in the loss of control. So the egoic mind is really working overtime on that, in that part as Uke. And so for me, Uke is a kind of death meditation. And to be honest, when I do my level of Zazen, but the Zazen that I'm showing you guys is what I would teach at the beginning of Zazen, okay? The level of Zazen that I do is, I would say, for my religious studies, it's a death meditation. So, in a way, the way that you're trying to release your muscles and your tissues and all that stuff, I'm trying to release my life seed. See if I can let that go. That's what I'm releasing in there. Whatever you think was released when you can get to this death meditation, like I can do a quick physical release, but I get deep in that meditation, of the death meditation, where I don't know if I'm breathing or not. That's when you feel like, oh, it just feels everything. It's really pushing on you. I can't tell if that gravity is suffocating me or I'm not needing to breathe anymore. I don't know what the hell that is, okay? But I do know when I go and do the kemi, that's what it feels like for me to stay as relaxed as possible with certain nagas who are going to throw me, no matter what is going to happen. I go into that state, and then I don't get tired because they're doing all the work. In fact, it gets tiring for them because I'm more relaxed, and now I'm heavier and never a leper. And you guys have all felt fuck this. Okay? Well, I would still, as much as I need it for ukemi, you should try to do it as naga too. Okay? Try to surrender, try to release, try to accept, try not to protect. This is why, again, the tension is, of course, going to interfere with the force engine. Of course, we already know that. But the tension is a symptom of the anxiety, let's call it that. You see? And the anxiety is a symptom of the selfing. If I don't make that selfing the centrality of my kihon, then my kihon cannot be that middle ground, that's a place where I'm still working on the contestation with the voice, you see. And this to me is why this style of training, with that structural understanding of where everything fits between cultivation fields and application fields and all that kind of stuff, this type of training can actually work on my spiritual maturity. I can actually be nonviolent now because I cannot be unconsciously, habitually triggered into violence. And the same thing would happen even amidst violence. So take this example. We have the taser in law enforcement, and we call that non-deadly force or less lethal force. I've seen that thing used very violently. Okay? Maybe you've been in a pillow fight with your brothers or your friends, and it can get pretty freaking violent too. The tool itself is not what makes me violent or non-violent. Right now, modern Aikido is trying to be a non-violent tool. And then you don't have to actually work on yourself. Because we're not going to actually give you any way of working on yourself. But this other way makes training very hard. I just want to exercise, please. Okay? But this is the way that Kihon can be concentric to Zazen, which can be concentric to Karma Yoga, which can be concentric to just a guy who works the ferry at the river. And I'm just like the Buddha. Well, if that's all true, and I know it's true, just like Young knows, then it's very problematic when I'm here and I'm having egoic responses. Okay? Cannot be. Now, because we are progression-based and we are where we are, we always kind of keep it going, right? And okay, try again tomorrow, okay, try again tomorrow. But in you have to make sure it's on the table of what you're going to try not to do and what you're going to try to do. And not just keep going lead down range. Not just keep doing that rep again like that. In here, I've mentioned we have a policy, we have an etiquette, we have an NRT. Says it in there. You'd be expelled from the dojo. Basically, it's a divorce clause, okay? Because the sensei-dashi relationship is like a marriage to me. And now it means I'm going to suffer through everything that you're making me suffer through because you refuse to do this or that. But at a certain point, you're now going to be deemed not responding to training, and then we get a divorce and we're fine. Okay? But it should never reach that way, just like it should never be, no one should ever be called out by a sensei rule. You see, no one should ever, that's a sensei rule. No one should ever do that. Everyone should be from the inside, and I felt my emotional reactivity, and that I gotta get rid of that. I gotta figure this out. Or I felt my shoulder tight. I gotta get rid of my shoulder tight. I felt my push back on them. I gotta get rid of that. Gotta get rid of that. Okay? Otherwise, how in the world can I ever improve on any concentric level? What would be the metric for a positive transformation if I don't do anything but what I was doing yesterday? Okay? So it takes a lot of awareness, a lot of self-observation, but yes, a lot of discipline, yes, a lot of grit. And I'll tell you this, those things are way more important than who your teacher is, whatever lineage you're in. Without those things, it doesn't really matter who your teacher is. Okay? And I would say, I know it seems weird, but with those things, again, it doesn't matter who your teacher is. There's not really anything that we've talked about so far this week that isn't talked about in Aikido. Non-contestation, that's not, I didn't invent that. Kokyu, I didn't invent that. Aiki, I didn't invent that. Calm spirit, I didn't invent that. Self-release, I didn't invent that. Nothing's new. It's just we're holding ourselves to those things. Right? What does that mean? What is Kokyu? Everyone will say it's fascia or whatever, you know? You're like, well, then I already got it. Because I was born with fascia. Okay? You know what I mean? Like everything like that. Like it was, oh, it's timing. Okay, got it. Timing. No, timing's hard. You can't ever get timing. Then why do I do it? Why do I work for it? Or they go, this is non-violent. I don't know about that because have you been thrown on the street? Have you been knelt down on the street? Even like when we teach the officers, they like to take people down with their own body weight, kind of like a Jimmy Waza, because they have no technique. So they try to get as much mass in the takedown. And then you have to tell them, okay, we're just taking advantage of the mat. Let's hit the grinder. The grinder's a concrete fade. Everyone feels one time, slowly, and then not even the second time. Okay, do you know what I mean? No one goes like this. The first time they're like this, and then they don't even do it anymore. Okay? And again, you try to tell them in training, hey, I know, I'm telling you, you don't do that. I personally know an officer who knelt down like that, blew his kneecap out, ended his whole career. Don't do it. It doesn't work in the street. How many of you have slapped off the mats, right? Okay, very similar, right? This kneeling is even worse. Well, can you just imagine your uke? It's so weird. What if it's not? Then why do I have a padded surface at all? Now, I've been in karate systems. They don't have pads. They have wood floor. It's that floor like that. We train on that floor. I've showed you the Shirinji Kempo. They train on the wood floor too. They don't have any problem thinking that with a non-violent throw. Because it hurts even though there's dispersing energy. And they know how much training went into it. And they know they got selected for this demonstration because they could take the throw without dying. Again, all we're doing here is just truly asking why, how, all the way to the end until I actually have an answer. And the answer is the shape of an experience. And when you do that, why, how, there's no way that that there's such a thing as a non-violent martial art. There's just not. And there's no way that I can solve within me my own propensity towards violence, towards reactivity, in my own will to power, by giving me a tool. There's no way. And we're just going, okay, now that there's no way, how do you do it? How would you actually do it if there's no way? And now we do Qigong that way. Unself, 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 unself. And one of the key places is Azuke, because that is really pushing on us the loss of control. And because we know that spiritually, that is one reason why we cannot do this art with the choreographed Kempo. Cannot do it. So now we have to train ourselves to be able to be thrown safely. Okay? We're going to have to get strong. We're going to have to get fit. We're going to have to be mobile. We're going to have to, in all our daily life, we're going to have to problematize fear. All our anxiety, all our fear, all our will to disengage, all our will to retreat, that's on the table now. We're going to call you out, Charlie. I don't care how old you are. Charlie was a little kid that was playing games holding his flag out. Sometimes, too, in my will to stay in control and the fear that's behind it, I mask it with the morality. You see, so I go, I am unself because I wouldn't hit anyone. You know what I mean? But we went deeper to the why, and we realized that's not the only kind of violence. That's not the only kind of violence at all. And when I try to define violence deeply, eventually you're going to end up where we end up, this self-construct. I have this thing, I told you earlier today that Mary and I come from totally different cultures. We also have the ethnic culture. Just to get you in the ballpark, I'll share some of mine. I always say to everyone, Mary is my best student. Like, she teaches me the most about non-contestation. Okay? And I know now why marriage is a sacrament in the ancient Catholic Church on par with the priesthood. Because to marry unto Christ, to be a servant unto God, you have to unself. And to be married unto death, you have to unself. So here we are, we're from different cultures, different ethnicities, and different economic classes. We grew up, some of you are not from the United States. I grew up with government American cheese. So if you don't have enough money and the government gave you some cheese, I don't know, you're supposed to survive on American cheese, okay? We had American cheese in the fridge, right? And one time, we were having Thanksgiving, and Mary and I were just dating, and Mary came over, invited her to this dinner. And my family is like the movies you see. Oh, you're at the house, you're in the family. She doesn't know us from nothing, right? And all hugging her, and all these Hispanics, and talking to her about everything. And then a discussion happens, but from Mary's culture, this discussion sort of sounds like an argument. Okay? But from my culture, everyone talks at once, and if you want to be heard, you're going to have to raise your volume up. Otherwise, you can't be heard. And I'm not even paying attention because no one is fighting. She ends up leaving the table crying and goes into the bathroom. And I'm not even paying attention. And my mom is sitting to me. She says, well, where's she going? Where's she going? And I go, I don't know, to the bathroom. And then my mom goes, go see if she's throwing up. Because Mary was really skinny. I think she's throwing up the dinner. She's too skinny. And I gotta go because she's not gonna let me talk anymore. And I go, hey, are you all right? And she's crying, no, everyone's mad and everyone's fighting. No one's fighting, okay? No one's fighting. Now she jumps in, okay? It's fine. Now she talks too loud for her family back at her house. So, here we are, we're getting to know each other, right? You have kids, and then it actually brings more selfing. He's more unselfing, because now the kids too need the sacrificing of self. You need to serve. You have your karma yoga here. You're tired, doesn't matter if you're tired. You're sick, it doesn't matter if you're sick. You have to serve. I can't carry this, it doesn't matter, it has to be carried. If you didn't unself, you would be going and saying to yourself, I deserve this rest. But to take that rest, now this person can't be held. To me, that's a worse kind of violence. And when you look at this child who you were arresting, or you were entertaining yourself, or you were having ladies' night, or what have you, because you needed distraction from this world, we already know. We already know the science is in. We already know that child has been hurt, damaged, and I never laid a hand on it. Where's that violence? What's the source of that violence? I would say it's a worse violence. It's a worse violence because we get away with it, because culturally we've accepted it. Somehow physical violence made some difference. And so we do violence, as I understand it, and I'm telling you about it now, we do it all the time. It just, there's no moral code against it. Now we do it more freely. But it's worse. It's worse. It's worse because there's no moral code against it. So it's not enough if I just say to myself, I would never hit someone. You see, it's not enough. It's not enough. It's nowhere near enough. And if you remember, this is only for this part of the training. You try that shit at this part. You try to say, I'm following the earthly law's voice. Will not work. This voice does not follow earthly laws. And even on this side, where you're in a field, an application field, I have had to use physical violence on someone, what we would call physical violence on someone, who we could have killed legally, probably should have. Like if I was teaching someone for officer safety, should have taken the shot. But it's relative to what's your skill, do you see? No, I didn't take the shot. I did grappling instead. Guy was high as hell. And I knew he wasn't all there. Got him down, got him under control. Everyone's freaking out. All the other cops, because death's right there. You see, death's right there. All the other cops. I remember one backup deputy running at me with his weapon actually pointed at me, because he lost track of where everything is. And I'm like, don't shoot him! And I had him in the control. And he snapped out of it. And then everyone knew, okay, Dave has him, and we're, slow down. Everything's okay. We're all okay. That's non-violence. We get him. He can't go to the jail because he's too high. He has to go to the hospital. You can't put people in medical emergencies inside the jail. You have to go to the hospital, and the doctor has to clear them. So we're in the hospital. They give him a dose of some drug to counter out the meth he's on. It's not working. They give him another dose. We're there all freaking night. You're in charge of his safety at this point. We're there all night long. He finally sobers up in the next morning, okay? That whole time he's handcuffed to the bed and he's yelling at me and cursing me and he's gonna rape my life and I'm a dirty Mexican and all this kind of bullshit. You see him with just no emotional reactivity yet. He's all sober and he's not the same guy, you see the guy that did all those things and said all those things and caused all those things? Yes. But no. Not right now. All right, sir. They cleared you. We're going to go take you to jail now. Is there anything you need from here? Anything you want from here? Okay, we'll take that too. Get to the jail. This way, sir. No beating him up, no anger at him, no nothing. This is not violence. The booking deputy goes, okay, you're good. All right. You take care, sir. I'm leaving. He's all, he says bye. You're a little like habit. All right, you take care. Bye. But then as I'm walking out of the room, he's all, deputy. And I turn around and he goes, He says, thanks for not killing me. I knew you could have, or you probably should have. Okay? That's nonviolent. Amidst violence. That's true nonviolence. Wrapping myself in a moral code or wrapping myself in some art, that's not nonviolence. So for all these reasons, I really have to pay attention to my fear on the mat, my selfing on the mat, even when I mask it with some moral thing, you see, some worldly code, like it's nonviolent. I'm being nonviolent. I never hit someone. I would never. And instead understand it just as my own humanity. There's a part of me that wants and needs power, wants and needs control. But there's another part of me that doesn't want nor need power or control. And to understand that it's a skill. That it's not a state I reach. It's a skill I have. A skill in what? A skill in unselfing. And so as a skill in unselfing, I practice it over and over. I do the training equations over and over and over and over. Every day. So I had Ukemi, I felt the fear, I felt the tension, I do the death meditation. And I just accept what's happening. All I gotta do is not let my head hit the mat. I'm gonna be okay. Accept, feel them, feel the force, accept. Same thing as noggin. Stop. Stop. Stop the training. Go back and do it. Don't go into passive Gandhi state, because that's that worldly dressing. You see, that's not it either. In a way, the weird way, the reconciliation of our will to power allows for power without the will to power. It's very strange. So the technique both feels soft and hard, strong and weak, both feels that way, fast and slow, you see, because it's reconciling the dichotomies. And so it does feel powerful and effortless. Not powerful and effortful. But I have to be the one to reel me in. I got to reel me in. And here, that's the expectation. I don't care how slow you go, how many times you start over. That's going to keep us in better graces than if you're just unconsciously practicing selfing, or you're unconsciously masking your lack of power with a moral code. You see? This is also not what we do. And I think the best place to do it is as weekend, because it's so needed as weekend.